Okay, revelation beyond revelation. I'm going to show you even more. So, if you really do pay attention to every chapter in the Bible with number 4, it's instructions to the bride of Christ. But also, you know how the Jewish people were looking for a sign? And what did Jesus say? Well, we were reading I don't know if you watch the lives, but in the lives, I usually go every morning around 11-ish Eastern time, and on the weekend in the afternoon hours, God willing, it's up to him. It's going to change in the summertime. It's going to be in the afternoon, God willing. And it might be a little bit longer because I'm expected to do some surgery, so might be out from work for some time, so I might have a little bit longer to come up on here and get deeper into word studies and like whatever the scriptures, whatever the Holy Spirit wants to reveal to us. It's not about me, it's about him and what he's doing. But going back to the Sadducees and Pharisees, what's going on? They're asking for a sign. So in the lives, we've been reading Isaiah, and they got their sign through the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah said, this sign, the only sign you'll be getting is the virgin birth. And okay, there was another man, I forget his name, but he's like, Isaiah's saying, ask for a sign. And so he said, I will not ask for a sign. I will not put the Lord my God to the test. And then Isaiah just begins to prophesy, and he says, you know what sign you're going to get? You're going to get the sign of the virgin birth. And so Jesus was the sign. And the whole book of Isaiah talks about this a son that is given to us. And the government will be on his shoulder. Like the whole book of Isaiah actually talks about this prophet that will come. But now I'm in the book of Exodus, because in Exodus talks a little bit more prophetically now what God is expecting of us, but also in Exodus chapter 24 and the parable of the wedding banquet. And this just gets more and more. The Holy Spirit gives you revelation beyond revelation. It's very interesting. I'm learning a lot. But we want to come to the knowledge of truth, and that's the gospel, the 4 gospels. So, and doing it in love. Okay, so I'm going to flip the phone around and I'm going to show you. So in Exodus chapter 4, a sign for Moses. A sign for Moses. Do you see that? They're looking for a sign, right? They hold on to the laws of Moses, right? This gets crazy. So Moses answered, what if they do not believe or listen to me and say, the Lord did not appear to you? Then the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? A staff, he replied. The Lord said, throw it on the ground. So Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake. So the signs for the Israelites to believe in Moses, to see that God is with him, was through signs and miracles, which is crazy because that's what Jesus is doing in the gospel. So he throws the staff on the ground, and it becomes a snake. And he ran away from it. And then the Lord said to him, reach out your hand and take it by the tail. So Moses reached out his hand and he took a hold of it, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. And this, said the Lord, is so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac and Jacob, has appeared to you. So they got their sign. They believe in Moses, but why did they not believe in Jesus? That's the question. They believed in Moses, but they would not believe in Jesus. And he did all this to show them. Then the Lord said, put your hand into your cloak. So Moses put his hand into his cloak. And when he took it out, the skin was leopards, and it had become as white as snow. Now put it back into your cloak, he said. So Moses put it back in his cloak. And when he took it out, he was restored like the rest of his flesh. So then the Lord said to him, if they do not believe or pay attention to the first sign, they may believe the second one. But if they do not believe those two signs or listen to you, take some of the Nile, the water from the Nile, and pour it into dry ground, in the dry ground. And the water you take from the river will become like blood on the ground. What did Jesus do? When you turn water into wine, there are so many parallels. Moses said to the Lord, "Pardon your servant, Lord. I have never seen I can't pronounce it, I apologize. Neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow to speech and in tongue." And the Lord said to him, "Who gave human beings their mouth? Who makes the deaf or mute?" And Jesus is performing signs, right? With this very thing that God is talking to Moses about. Who gives the sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. But Moses said, "Pardon your servant. Lord, send someone else." So he didn't, listen, Moses struggled with faith too. He didn't believe. First of all, he was believing in himself. He wasn't really relying on God right here. God is reminding him, it is I, right? And now he's saying, send someone else. And the Lord's anger burned against Moses and said, "What about your brother Aaron, the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you. He will be glad to see you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak, and I will teach you what to do." And that's basically Jesus' whole ministry, teaching us what to do. And he says you don't need a teacher, that you have one. He's in heaven. And he teaches us through his word. So he will speak to the people for you. And it will be as if he were your mouth. And if you were God to him. But take the staff in your hand so that you can perform signs with it. And this part right here is revelation beyond revelation about Jesus Christ too, by the way. The firstborn son, how like Moses didn't circumcise it, and then, his wife, who is an Israelite herself, she basically circumcised, and what does she say? She says, so the Lord let him alone. At that time she said, "Bridegroom of blood," referring to circumcision. Jesus has circumcised our heart. He's the bridegroom, and we are the bride. It's very interesting how a people who was not his people was more faithful. Even Moses, who was an Israelite. We see this happen all throughout the rest of the scriptures too. This chapter is very interesting. It kind of reminds me of Matthew 24, but I also wrote down Matthew 17. There's just like some supernatural encounter that happens right here. I might have to post another video to more interesting things of sharing. I just love to share. So then the Lord said to Moses, "Come up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel. You are to worship at a distance, but Moses alone is to approach the Lord. The others must not come near, and the people may not come up with him." When Moses went and told the people all the Lord's words and the laws, they responded with one voice. "Everything the Lord has said, we will do." So they were on one accord. This is also in Ephesians chapter 4, that the church needs to get on one accord. They all need to agree. This gets crazy. So Moses then wrote down everything the Lord had said. He got up early the next morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain and set up 12 pillars representing the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm going to make another post on reading the rest of this, just to your response, for more gold to the rest of this, because this is a lot like one of the parables of the wedding banquet right here. And Jesus wants us to enter this wedding banquet. He wants us to come up to the holy mountain and sit and dine and eat with him, right? To sup with him. This is part of the gospel, what we all got to share. I'm encouraging you, and you encourage others to continue to share the gospel. Peace.